So this is what I was working on all yesterday. We got the full merch drop on deck. On deck. So all the OG products plus one new thing. We have the Hobby Jogger running hats. We have the Supwell certified race shirt. This is the same one I used to run my 239 PR in Chicago. Look at that. Blacked out. We have the Hobby Jogger trucker. This is the OG. This is seriously the OG. This is the hat that started it all, because this is what I wore to the running event last November. I legit had these printed and sent to the hotel because they weren't going to make it to Mint Hill in time. So I had this sent to the hotel in Austin, Texas. Only 20 of these. I gave out 5 to 7 down there. I sold 10 to people, early subscribers of the channel. We had 1,500 to 2,000, maybe 2,500 subscribers back then. So this is the first time these things are going on wide release. This is the thing I wear every day. It's got the dirt stains to prove it. Charlie thinks it's gross. Oh, that's my phone. Charlie thinks it's gross. I think it's cool. It's a patina. And then look at this. Bang. My guy Barrett, he's one of the hobby joggers. He's a member of the Supwell app. He sent over this design. I thought it was so sick. He made a Supwell certified logo. So the front of the shirt has the Supwell certified logo. That's fire. He's a type designer. So my guy created these typefaces. Check out his Instagram. He's sick. And then he created this typeface as well. These are his own individual typeface. That's so cool, man. When people put that type of dedication, precision, and focus to their craft and come up with something fire, I mean, look at that. So we have the mileage in the porch brick red cascading up the back because we're building mileage, and then Supwell certified in the front. This is a long sleeve running shirt. I'm excited for these. I'm excited for these for the fall, and people keep asking me for white stuff, so there you go. It's white. There's some white for you right there. Supwell certified mileage shirt. Yeah, check out Barrett RM Design on Instagram. So that's the full suite. That's the full product drop. Those are the capsule right now. It's the OG capsule collection. We got the 2 hats, the running hat, the trucker hat, the Supwell race shirt. This is what I was wearing to cruise through the streets for that 239 PR. And then we have the new mileage building shirt as well. So check it out. You can find this all, by the way, at hobbyjogger.com. I'm not messing around. These boys out here trying to steal the Hobby Jogger swag, so I messed around a few months ago and bought the hobbyjogger.com domain. Don't play. Do not play with me, and do not play with my brand. Put some respect on the hobbyjogger.com domain. Look at that. Bang. As we say on the channel, best workouts start the night before. So we got a big bowl of hearty pasta from Supwell Kitchen, courtesy of Charles, with the lentil bolognese, and then the vegan parm from TJ's over a bed of penne. Charles, you want to tell them the secret sauce? Give us one tip.
Add veggies when no one's looking.
Add vegetables when no one's looking. That's how you get it done. It's 8:34 and she decided to try on the Superblast for the first time. She says they're really comfortable, and she asked me why I was hating on them. She said she's part of the Superblast cabal. Trapping out the tea drawer. Should I run on those tomorrow? I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to get yelled at again by the entire internet. How's the grip? The grip's actually supposed to be good. Why, is it raining?
It just rained.
Oh.
But the Puma grip is supposed to be
Yeah, the Puma grip is the best.
be actively raining tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay. Alright, well.
Let's
The deal with those?
Yeah.
The
They feel great.
the geometry, yeah, they're stable. They're stable. The foam is bouncy. It's just the geometry. Should I get you a pair of them? I should get you a pair of them. All right, well, that's what I'm gonna get you for Christmas. Gosh. Maybe I'll just do the last run in them tomorrow, and then just give them to Charles pre-broken in, because they have 30 miles on them now.
That's a nice sketch.
Yeah. And you said they fit you.
Yeah, I mean,
They're half a size big, probably.
it's so crazy.
Yeah, but
Should take feet
each kid put you up half of a size.
now. I feel like, no, Joy
Yeah.
gave me a full size.
Oh, do I give you a full size? Yeah. Those are probably a half size Remy.
Yeah, because I used to be
Yeah.
like
A 9 women's, yeah. Those are.
what's happening.
Yeah. Alright, well, I guess you picked my shoes for tomorrow.
You should wear them with the pink shirt.
With the pink on pink. Yeah, I should. No, it's long run day. I gotta we're back to the blue tracksmith.
Are they clean?
Yep. Yeah. Alright, back to the early morning wake up grind. It's not even 4:30, it's 5:40. I got an extra 70 minutes of sleep, but I could have gone 2 more hours, man. But we're getting back to it. Ooh, that's too much light. There we go. That's a lot better. Getting back to it, man. Getting back to it. Alright, time to get some coffee going. So these are the beans we have this morning. This is the FF Turbo Plus Anaerobic Natural. Should be pretty fire. It's from Mount Fuji. It's grown pretty high altitude. I learned recently that the higher a coffee is grown, and they measure it by meters above sea level, the better it's supposed to be. I'm not sure exactly why, but this is grown at a pretty high altitude. I can barely speak. I'm so tired. It's grown at a pretty high altitude, so throw some of these in the coffee grinder. Should be fire. Smells like marzipan and strawberry jam. So I'm trying to figure out my next immediate step right now when it comes to training and racing. So I have this goal of sub 230, and I'm going to give myself a year to train and hit that, because over the past few cycles, that's what it's taken for me to extend my half marathon pace to marathon. So that's what it's taken to be able to take an effort that I can run for roughly 70 to 90 minutes and extend my endurance at that speed to be able to run that for 2.5 to 2 hours and 40 minutes. So the question now is, having come off Chicago, that was exactly 2 weeks ago today, what do we do next? Do we hang out in this base building period for a while, maintain higher mileage? This is what I did last year, and I find that when I'm in this base building period, at least in the past, I've tended to not be super focused with my training, and having a race on the calendar is a forcing function for focus. It encourages me, at least, to structure my weeks and workouts around that goal. So I've been looking at a half marathon in December. It's December 7th. If I sign up for that race, I'm not going to be out here just banging out mileage. I'm going to be out here pushing the pace, doing 2 to 3 specific workouts a week, and looking to get better so that I can run half marathon pace, which right now would be around that 5:40, which is a 2:30 marathon pace. So I could run that for 13.1 miles. So Nothing is decided yet. I do know that right now I want to work on, again, that general endurance and that speed in this base building period, but my general endurance is solid, so I don't have as much of a need for it anymore given the high volume that I maintain throughout the year. So that led me to a question last night of how should I be treating these long runs right now when I'm in this foundational or this base building period. And I went back to the Daniels book. I went back to the Hudson book, the Run Faster. Those were the two main ones. And I was going to go back to a few others, but I got stuck in the Hudson book because he had a lot of great things to say about the long run and how to structure our training around different periods or different seasons. And so his guidance is when we're not in peak training, when we're not in fundamental or sharpening periods, and he defines fundamental as that, what I was talking about earlier this week, step 2 of marathon training, when we're starting to bring it together to get specific adaptations, but we're not yet just slamming a bunch of race specific workouts like the final stage. That's the fundamental period of marathon training. He suggested it lasts 10 weeks. That's where we're going to be doing a lot of those long grinder sessions midweek and mixing in some cool but hard stuff into our long runs. But before that, in the introductory period, as he calls it, or what I call base building or hobby jogger lifestyle, just getting in miles without having a specific goal, his suggestion is to run these long runs at a moderate pace for me, based on where my level of fitness is. So if you're just hitting 2 hours for the first time, just hitting 2.5 hours for the first time, you don't have a huge base built up, then long runs are purely to build endurance. But I was remembering the words of Lydiard, man, putting more pressure, what he calls pressure on the aerobic system, what we would call elevating the heart rate, sending more blood through there, that's always going to drive more adaptations than just going out there and jogging slowly. The thing is, injury risk is higher when we put more pressure because we're running faster. But if we've strengthened our bodies over time, we can go out and run moderately hard, like our guy Brad Hudson says, for 2 hours to 2.5 hours. So that's going to be my plan for today, for this long run, a moderate or steady state effort. So for me, anywhere from 6:30 to 7:10 will do the job of that. And I could go out and slam marathon pace for 20 miles, but that's going to be too high of an injury risk. And the marginal benefits we get by going that 20 to 30 seconds faster aren't that great, because the pace I'm doing today is still going to be an aerobic pace. It's still going to give me all those benefits without stressing the muscles as much and without having the recovery be so high. So that's the goal of today's workout. By the way, this looks like whiskey. It's not. It's called Pathfinder. They say destroyer of bad vibes. I love their tagline. It's a hemp and root concoction. I'm not actually sure if it has CBD in it. Somebody asked me if this would show up on a drug test. I don't know. This is not medical advice. If you need to take drug tests, I don't know, maybe avoid this. But this is what I drink before, so I don't drink alcohol. Alcohol is not great for athletic recovery, and if we want to be at our best, it decreases our quality of sleep. The thing is, I did drink alcohol for a long time, but now that I'm so focused on hitting specific goals and so focused on being the best I can be for not just my running, but the business, it's just, I also have 3 kids. It's just not, I'm likely going to go back to drinking alcohol at some point. Man, when Charles and I are 47 doing our River Europe tour, bro, I'll be busting down a little Bordeaux, eating some vegan caviar. But right now, when we just have a 3-year-old or a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old and a 1-year-old and everyone's pooping themselves and screaming and I'm banging out 130-mile weeks, I'm not going to be out here drinking alcohol. But this is what I drink before the long runs. It is nice to switch it up sometimes and not just be drinking water. Or I do drink a lot of non-alcoholic beers, but This is nice. Pathfinder. It's, I guess it would be like a whiskey dupe, but if you look at the, almost the lyrics, if you look at the ingredients, so first two are water and sugar, but then beyond that, and that's what's going to give it the fermentation, but hemp, wormwood, angelica root, ginger, sage, saffron, orange peel, Douglas fir extracts. It's just crazy, bro. Crazy. It's pretty fire. I mixed this up with some, there's another drink called Pentire that my mom showed me. That's good. And then I mixed that up with tonic, and it's pretty banging. Yeah, I'm not here to preach. This is just what I do. And again, it all depends on what stage of life we're in and what our goals are. But right now I prefer to have an NA drink, and it is nice to have something before the long run to have a good ritual. That was something that I learned during the last block, having a system set in place, and your system maybe will be watching a Netflix show and having a glass of wine, or hanging out with your wife or your husband, whatever your system is. It's nice to have a reliable set of checkpoints each Saturday night before the long run. That, for me, I was able to have the long run feel controlled, and then on race day, I was able to have that marathon feel like just another long run. Alright, so this is breakfast here. We got our coffee. Hold on, one sip. One sip, everybody knows rules. Pretty fire. Pretty fire. The Mount Fuji anaerobic natural process has a little bit more of a citric ping than I'm used to, but on the finish, it rounds it out. Again, I said marzipan and strawberries. You can taste that strawberry jam on the finish, and it gives that sweet, full-bodied umami mouthfeel without being too cloying, which is nice. That's the coffee. Breakfast today, I've been trying to up my protein intake before these long runs. I know we think about carbs all the time, but one of these protocols I heard about recently was getting more protein than is typical. So I'm shooting for between 15 and 17 grams of protein before these long runs. This is what I'm having today. It's going to be pretty much perfect. And again, having the same thing each week before these long runs, that's going to make it easier. It reduces that decision fatigue. This is what I was talking about in the video I did earlier this week. So whether it's this or a bagel or an English muffin, whatever you're going to have before the long run, making sure that it's on hand so you can do the same thing every week. And you don't have to think about what you're going to eat. You don't have to think about your routine. You just get up and go. So I'm going to make some progress on my breakfast here. See you guys in a bit. Gosh dang, man, it's 6:12. Reevesy just got up. He's been getting up at 6 and saying, "Is it sleepy time? I'm done." Nah, bro, it's sleepy time. Go back to bed. I always say people are sleeping on me. He is not sleeping on me. He's not sleeping at all. He's trying to pop out here at 6 and party. Bro, you're 2. Go back to bed. Dude, he just opened his door again and turned on the closet light. He really wants to smoke right now. He really wants to smoke. Alright, so good news, Charles was in there. That was Charles who was turning the lights on and making him be quiet. But man, this phase we're in right now, Reevesy, 2-year-old, they call it the terrible twos. It's not terrible. He's just coming into his own. And it's funny because Mace, as a 5-year-old, when she was 2, was just completely different. She was an angel, would just sit there, and I'd come get her at 7 to 7:15, no problems. Meanwhile, he's popping out of his bed at all times, asking for things. But this is making me think about how each of us are, as runners, are so different. What might work for one kid when it comes to parenting, or what might work for one athlete when it comes to running, could be completely different for somebody else. So I run 100 miles a week. But a lot of people out there, they don't need to run 100 miles a week to run a sub 240 or a sub 230. Well, actually now when we get into the sub 230 range, a lot of people are running 100-mile a week. But some of us are more fast twitch runners. We have more of a higher index or higher capability in speed and power. Some of us are on the other side where we index more in endurance and running for a long time, that aerobic engine and injury resistance, and we can do higher volumes. So a lot of people are asking me for training programming recently, and I would love to do that. One of the things I'm trying to figure out how to do is to distill the core of my approach down into those universalities, the general things that work for all runners. For example, mileage, consistency, the 2-hour long run, and then also have some adaptability and customization so that people can guide themselves to be the best runner, hobby jogger, athlete they can be based on their own strengths. Like, we wouldn't do the same exact thing raising each kid. We want to play to their strengths and help supplement their weaknesses. And it's the same thing for running. We don't want to just follow a cookie cutter plan that was built for everybody. So stay tuned on programming. Okay, well, we've got one coming out. What's that? Yeah, I know. Reevesy was trying to get out. I just have a Roni. It's a body. It's a body. It's a body. Grove Street. Whole squad on that real stuff. Out here mobbing. That's a new revolution. Honey on the everything bagel. One bite, everybody knows the rules. How is it? Is it fire? Yeah? She was supposed to have jury duty, but they canceled it. I would be excited to have jury duty. Civic responsibility.
This is my civic.
Can you say civic responsibility, Arya? Can you say democracy? Can you say, actually, it's a democratic republic?
No.
Maximum Kush 24. Should drop those shirts. 7:04. Still completely pitch black. Next week is daylight savings, so we'll get an hour of light back in the morning. Rest complete shenanigans, 7:12, and we got home improvement projects going on. Just children everywhere. This is why I wake up at 4:30, man. Gotta get back on that grind. This is a swag for today. We're going OG Hobby Jogger running hat with the Supwell shirt. By the way, this thing is 100% chafe free. I run in these almost every day. I ran Chicago in this, no chafing. So if you buy it and you're chafing, that's on your nips. That's not on me. We're going to have a fully lit coffee station, so I don't have to use my iPhone anymore. Yeah, it's fire. Supwell barista. Look at that. Bang.
Yes.
Ooh.
Well, it said don't. It said like 8 times, don't install it while
Yeah, don't install it while it's on. Yeah. That looks fire. That looks so much better. Now it's just all the wires back there. Look kind of weird, but if you give a mouse a cookie.
Well, so this thing, it came with, this is, because right now I just taped it.
Yeah.
But it came with little things.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. For the wires. Yeah. Yeah, it looks good. It looks really good. I'm going to put some Supwell stickers back there on that wall. Sticker blast it. Make it our little mountain Supwell neck.
We can retile this
Yeah.
first.
Retile it. That's what you want? Q4 2024. Use my running warehouse links. We gotta get the Supwell kitchen renovation project. Wayfair, who? Yeah, I'm going for a run. See, I was gonna run in these, but Charles convinced me to run the Superblast. Man, it looks real ominous out here this morning. Oh my goodness, do you see this? It legit looks like the shark aliens are about to descend from the sky. There was a really good passage in the Hudson book that I was reading last night. Run Faster. And he said our goal when training, and I'm saying training right now as opposed to running, because I run to enjoy life. I run for the mental benefits, but I train to get as fast as possible. So the goal of training should be to squeeze as much benefit, physical benefit, adaptations from every second of running as possible. The goal of training. That's not the goal of my general running. And that's why we separate training from running. And a lot of the times for my afternoon runs, my doubles, I'm just running. I'm running for the enjoyment of it. It's not necessarily for a specific adaptation, but when we think about workouts, those are training. And yes, even if we're deep into marathon training, we can separate some runs. These are just runs. These are just running. We can do whatever we want versus I'm training right now, so I'm hitting these specific workouts. And the long run, that is always a training run for me, how I'm treating it now. So with that, that is why I'm focusing on having this be more of a moderate effort. I've built up the endurance for 20 miles. And I can wake up any day of the week, hit a 20-mile day. I can hit a 20-mile long run, or a 23 or 24, even I can hit a 25-mile long run any weekend. The goal now is to get more, to squeeze more juice from that berry with these long runs. So running them faster during this foundational base building period, getting that aerobic pressure, in the words of Lydiard, because we're going to level up. We're going to take it to the next level. We're rebuilding. We're laser focused, locked into that 229. Let's do this thing. They actually brought the Wall Street Journal for once. Man, their hit rate of bringing it, they deliver this like once every 2 months. I don't even know what I'm paying for at this point. So goal today, keep the effort smooth and even. Use the first few miles to warm up into it. And then anything below
a 7 minute per mile pace would be ideal. But I still am at the tail end of recovery, so we'll see what we can get down to. But I'm not wearing a race shoe, not looking to completely rip, but I do want to get the effort up more than totally relaxed. At mile 1, 7:22, we're just cruising. We are just cruising. It's a Sunday morning cruise. We just get to enjoy it today. One more thing about the merch. We are going international, baby. I told you, I'm not playing around. So Europe, Canada, Australia, wherever you live, we're gonna have DHL putting in work. And also, we have sizes extra small to 4XL. These little boys only going up to XL. We opt that. We opt that. So whatever size you are, wherever you live, up your mileage, get in with me. Hobby Jogger Nation. Matter of fact, Hobby Jogger Global. Bang. We're at mile 2, 7:03 pace. I just saw a Trump sign. I thought it said, "Make America Black." I thought, oh, that's weird, but kind of cool, I guess. No, it said, "Take America Back." Make America Black. One more thing. Shirt sizing is unisex, and if you are in between sizes and typically wear men's, go down a size. I'm rocking a medium right now. These have a nice athletic fit. It's the perfect cut for bigger runners. So I'm 6'2", 160. I'm rocking the medium, and it's comfortably loose. Works well for both running and casual. So go down a size if you're in between, or get your normal size if you're not. Mafia. You got some barefoot mafia up ahead. So we're almost at mile 4 for fueling today. I did bring my water bottle and I have a few gels in here. I'm gonna maintain the gel intake on these training long runs, even though I'm not in peak marathon mode. And it is good to do fasted long runs occasionally. But for me, I'm of the mind that the fitness benefit we get from being able to run these long runs relaxed, confidently, and with strength at the end outweigh any sort of fuel intake optimizations or glycogen burning optimizations we get by doing fasted long runs. Especially for most of us hobby joggers, just being able to hit 2.5, 3 hour long runs consistently. Once we can do that for 10 weeks, 15 weeks, 20 weeks, then we can start thinking about fasting and optimizations. But we got to get the time on feet first, and fueling appropriately, that helps so much with time on feet. But if you've done dozens of 2.5 long runs over the past few years, then yeah, let's think about fasting and how running these on an empty stomach can help our training. But first, consistency. That was mile 4, 6:55 pace. I'm gonna do the first gel here. You already know what it is, man. Banoffee. We got the Banoffee in the house. Oh, nothing like a taste of Banoffee on a Mint Hill Sunday. Let's go. The other benefit of doing these long runs consistently, going 20 every week, 21, 22 every week, it then doesn't become this big scary event that sends catabolic signals through our body, and it's this catastrophic stress engine. You know, before big workouts, I get really nervous. My sleep isn't as good. And if a 20-mile long run or a 2-hour long run is a big workout, we're putting our central nervous system through an additional stressor before we even start running. But if we do these consistently, then it's like a walk in the park. It's just another run, and then the recovery becomes quicker because we're not as stressed. And when we want to really attack some pace, we're prepared for it. So man, consistent 2 and 2.5 hour long runs. You're gonna hear me say this till I quit running. That's the best thing we can do if we want to improve our marathon time, and not even worrying about pace until we've hit 8 weeks straight injury-free of 2-hour long runs. And I don't train by heart rate, but that is the benefit of zone 2 or MAF, whatever you want to call it. The focus on injury-free time on feet. We got to build that base first. Get out here 8, 10, 12 weeks, 16 weeks if you can. Just consistent mileage. That's how we build. That's how we boss up. By the way, if you do train by heart rate, the pace range that I'm shooting for today, that would correspond to, well, it is super windy, but that would correspond to 75 to 80% of heart rate max. This moderate, consistent, steady state running. Bro, these dogs getting disrespectful again. At mile 8, that was a 6:53. Been clipping off a lot of 7 flats. I was hoping to get down closer to 6:40, but this is what feels right today. Legs are still heavy, man. And I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm just getting blasted by wind right now. We're on the line of this turning into a grind fest, but I'm gonna beat it back. This is not gonna be a grind fest. We gotta keep it smooth, free, and easy, hopefully. Yeah, look at that wind, man. Holy cow. Gotta get off the main road. Dude, I'm getting destroyed by the wind right now. This is how it was in Chicago the day before and the night of the race. Just got so lucky that race morning I wasn't fighting the wind, because man, I would have been out here talking about sub 245. We lucked out. What is the thing? Luck is preparation meeting opportunity, something like that. We lucked out, but we also trained for that 239. Hey, that's how tall I look when I got the Superblast on. Ooh, so much better. You have the wind at our back now. Let's go. I gotta stay in the neighborhood. I'm not trying to fight the wind today. Mile 10, 6:47. I mean, I don't know what they're doing over here across the street. I wonder if they're doing one of those new build communities. Probably. Not in my backyard. All right, second gel at mile 10 here. I'm gonna go Torque Green Apple Crumble. This is the hard fall certified flavor. It's the Thanksgiving edition. The thing is, Torque is British, so they don't even know what Thanksgiving is. I had to loop back around to show you guys this. This is why I love Mint Hill. We got the S-Class Benz parked in the driveway with the fall leaves, and then the 18-wheeler right behind it. How's Mint Hill for you? Get in with me. I'll leave a hater laying down like he's trying to taper. Another Carolina 20 like I'm Gordon Hayward. Bars. Bars. Another 20. Another 20 up on them. They can't stop us. Man, I thought I was on mile 13, and my watch dinged, and I was on mile 14. That is the best. So I'm gonna take my last gel here. Morton caffeine. Got the haters big mad. We taking Morton on training runs. Leave them triggered. Man, that Morton was kind of yellow and tasted weird. If I'm throwing up later, you know why. And the wind is back. We've now tipped over into grind fest territory. My legs are tired, man. Mile 16, we're gonna just finish this out best we can. Last 0.39 hundredths of a mile here. We don't cramp, we don't fade. Let's go.
Whew, all aboard the Carolina Gaines train. Sheesh, another 20 piece in the books. 20.22 hundredths. What is that? 7:05 pace, 2 hours, 23 minutes, 5 seconds. Well, my goal was to take that at sub 7-minute pace, get down 640 to 650, but I'm not there yet. I thought I was in base building, that fundamental step 1 training. I'm not. I'm still in rebuilding. I still got to rebuild. I think the effort was moderate for sure. Let's see if my heart rate tracking was accurate today. Trying to see on this thing. Bada boom, bada bang. Yeah, it says 152. I don't know. I don't know if my heart rate is accurate, but the effort did feel moderate. My legs felt like I was putting in a moderate effort, but I couldn't hit the desired pace level today because I'm not 100% recovered. So I did the 20 probably a week too early. I could have taken one more week of 16 to 18 miles, done just 2 hours, and bumped up to 20 next week. But I'd rather go too hard than not hard enough. And the thing is, we were walking away injury-free. Still put in a great effort. The mileage was there. I always talk about the MVP training system, the mileage, the vibes, and the pace. The mileage was there. We hit our goal, 20. The vibes were there, meaning we did the moderate effort by feel, and the pace was off. But we got 2 out of the 3, and the pace was only off by 15 to 20 seconds. The thing is, a year and a half ago, when I had runs like this, where my legs were getting heavy and it was harder to turn them over at the end, I'd be hitting 830, 840, 850 pace. Today, the lowest my pace dropped when I was getting tired at the end was 720.
So we've still made a lot of progress, and we have to view all of our runs within the totality of it. And that's still another deposit in the aerobic bank. Even if I was dropping an 8:50 or 9-minute pace per mile, I would still be getting that 2 hours, 2.5 hours out here. So I'm still maintaining that raw endurance. Just the desired pace wasn't there. Anyway. Yeah, look at this bright colorway. I love the way this thing looks. You know, somebody said, as a man, this is what they said last time, as a man, I would not be caught dead in that hyper-feminine colorway. Bro, if my shoe choice is making you feel some type of way about your gender or sexuality, you need to get off YouTube and do some work on yourself. Out here, I feel like I'm gonna catch pneumonia. The thing is, if I go inside to shower, I don't know what type of shenanigans the kids are up to. I'm just gonna get sucked in. Oh my gosh, bro, that is not Supwell certified. Holy cow! Can you see that? That is legit terrifying. Get out. All right, man, so we got 20 miles in the Superblast 2 here. Let's throw it up. So goal of today's workout was rebuild the time on feet, rebuild the endurance, get back on that aerobic gains train, that Carolina gains train, because the thing is, mentally, once we get off that train, it's a lot harder to get back on, man. Habit, consistency, doing the same thing week in, week out, and I bet I'm about to lose a bunch of subscribers because you're sick of just seeing 20-mile long run this week, 20-mile long run, 21-mile long. It's the same video over and over, right? Because we're putting in 20-mile long runs every week. Once we break that habit, it's so much harder to get back. It's also so much easier, I have found, to keep the momentum once that train has left the station. That's the expression, right? The train has left the station, it's harder to stop. We're back on that 20-mile train. And once I have that 20-mile streak, we're not gonna end it. I will throw it up right now on Strava. I don't know how many weeks in a row I went 20, but just look at this. I'll scroll through it and you can see the Sunday, and you'll just see from 2 weeks after my marathon earlier this year in April to 2 weeks before Chicago, I hit a 20 every single dang weekend. That's what it takes. That's what it takes to get better as a marathoner. Consistent 20 pieces, consistent 2-hour long runs. And I am trying to be the best that I can be. That means using the best gear, fueling with the best products, taking care of my body the best I can, trying to get the best sleep I can, trying to reduce stress as best as I can, trying to run these miles as best I can, trying to squeeze every ounce out of my training runs the best that I can. And that's the hobby jogger lifestyle. That's what it means to up your best. We're putting in the work to get the best we can be based on our personal goals. So my personal goal right now is to run a sub 230. I am rebuilding my mileage, rebuilding my endurance, rebuilding my strength, and that's why we went 2 hours and 23 minutes. Now, in this phase of training, when I'm thinking about what shoes I am using for a long run, I'm not gonna be going for the race shoes too much because, again, the goal of today was moderate miles, moderate consistent pace miles. So for me, 6:30, anything from 6:30 to 7:10 would have done the job. I was hoping to be in 6:40, 6:50, so the faster middle part of that range, but the legs just didn't have it, and I think I'm still not fully recovered from Friday's workout. And that was the second thing I wanted to talk about, right? When we're getting out here and first reading the books, but getting out here and trying to make training adaptations, based on the successes and failures of the past block, it's all about trying different things to build on what we've done before to get better. So I don't know everything when it comes to running. There's so much I don't know. There's a lot that I do know, but I'm always seeking more knowledge. I'm always seeking how can I improve my system? How can I get more insights also to pass along to you? So I've learned that, man, every marathon is going to be different when it comes to recovery. And I'm also learning right now, different systems of the body might feel better or worse in this recovery phase. So I was able to hit some fast hill repeats, or not repeats, but hill work on Friday. 450 pace, 5 flat pace, 510 pace, up some huge hills, getting those legs turning over in the Mizuno Wave Rebellion Pro 2. Well, now fast forward 48 hours later, maybe I'm not recovered from that workout. Maybe I need more recovery because my body is still in a macro recovery phase that's gonna take 3 to 5 weeks. Or potentially in this phase, my endurance in these slower twitch muscles are gonna take longer to recover than the faster twitch. So that's something I'm thinking about too. And the thing is, I need some water. The thing is, there is a lot of research out there on different elements of training, but there's not too much research when it comes to actual in practice, when we're in the field running, because a lot of the research out there is very controlled in the lab. So we have to figure out how to make adaptations the best we can based on the existing body of research, based on what we know, based on the books and the science, and also based on our personal experience. So for me, right now, I'm figuring out what's the best way for me to recover, what's the best way for me to rebuild to get where I want to go. So last thing, let's throw the splits up here. Performance today, I was hanging on around 7:10 pace. I think that was a Ford F1 Stacky. I wasn't really paying attention. An older one. Yeah, I was hanging on 7:10 pace. The shoe felt okay. It actually felt better for the first half of the run than the second. It's broken in. I wasn't getting as much of that slap as the first few runs, and it felt okay. It felt fine for hanging out at that 6:40 to 7. Thing is, if I had the Mach X2 on, I felt like I would have been able to crank the legs a little bit more. I was actually surprised that there seemed to be a limiter on this for me. It wasn't as natural getting down to 640 and faster versus even the Mag Max and the Mach X2, those more rocker shoes. Those have more pop for me. They also, specifically the Mach X2 and the Hyperion Max 2, encourage a quicker turnover. This was okay just hanging out at 7 flat. Between 7 flat and 720, that's where this really wanted to be today, which was fine. And that's accomplished the purpose of the workout, kind of. I would have liked to go 10 to 15 seconds faster, but that just wasn't in the cards today. Now, comfort was good. I'd had no discomfort for the first 10, 15 miles of the run. As I was getting tired, I could feel some fatigue in the ball of my foot, and it was borderline bottoming out, which is surprising because I didn't have that issue at all in the Superblast 1, and this is known to be a very protective shoe, but something about the foam in the front here wasn't holding up too well past that 1 hour 30, 1 hour 45, 2 hour mark. So this was a strange run with the shoe for me, because before I thought it was going to be better for long runs, better for picking up the pace, but it actually seemed perfect at 90 minutes and slower than picking up the pace. So 90-minute steady run, those building block type of runs, that would be where I pick for this again. If I'm looking to do an everyday cruise, 90 minutes, just get out there and crush some miles, this might be the shoe that I go for. So at 50 miles, it's okay. I'm not loving it, but it's not as annoying as it was for the first 30 miles, and it's fine. The grip was actually good out there today. There was some wet leaves, and this held up really well. Let's take a look at the wear at 50 miles. Yeah, the wear is not too bad. It does seem to give a smoother roll through here, and it does have that resilience. And that's what I talk about with shoes like the Glycerin Max and the Mag Max. How does it do when we need to fight back? And I do think if I had a different shoe on, so not the Mach X2, but if I had maybe even the Skyflow or the Prima, I'm not sure if I would have been able to hang on to that 720 pace with the fatigue leg. So there is some speed assistance benefits here, but there's also a cap. So it's one of those shoes where the floor is high, but the ceiling is low. That's what I'm finding out right now. I think that's also why I didn't love it for the marathon pace workout. I did 12 miles with 6 or 800s at a 6 flat pace. This is a steady cruiser, that steady mobbing shoe like the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4 was for me. That's gonna hang out for my pace ranges around 640 to 610. That's where it feels best. And yes, of course, if I were feeling faster and lighter and more spry, I'm sure I would have hit 630, 640 just fine in this, but it feels most natural for me at the faster part to medium part of my everyday pace range. Now, other elements of the ride, stability is really good. That's actually the first thing Charlie noticed when she put this on, and I think I'm gonna pick up a pair of these for her because she just really liked the way that this feels. The cushion is nice. If you just want a cushioned, firm platform, that's what this is. I also noticed, I tried to modify my stride in some parts. When I tried to stomp down on the foam and tried to be heavier on my feet, that's when this came alive. And there was a lot of feedback I got that maybe I was too light on my feet for the shoe, which is ironic because I've never considered myself a light on my feet type of runner. But maybe Asics is really engineering this shoe for bigger runners, and that's what a lot of people out there are saying with this shoe. If they're putting down more power, either through more steps per minute, higher cadence, 180 plus, or higher, heavier weight, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4 plus, 180, 190, 200, 250 pounds plus. I'm 160, 6'2". Maybe I'm not putting down enough force. So weirdly for me, it felt better putting down more force. It felt better for the first 90 minutes of the run. When I was getting fatigued, didn't feel as good, but the protection was there, especially in the back. The stability was there. And one thing I gotta keep an eye on though is the bottom here. That was the concern of, is this front part bottoming out? So after 15 miles, I like this a lot more than 0 miles. I might pull it again. I like this more than I did like it at 0 to 10 miles. I might pull for this again for some everyday runs. I'm not gonna use this as a workout shoe. Likely not gonna use it for another long run. I might actually, if I do a super long run, so, I mean, I'm going to. Once I go 3.5 hours feeling better, I'll pull for this again if I do another run like I did in the Streak Fly. So I did a 2-3 hour run at a 640 pace. I would like to see how this does for that, to see if it really does have that limiter on it. And I also want to see how this compares to the Mach X2. I've got to take the Mach X2 and the Hyperion Max 2 past 20 miles or past 16 miles. Hyperion Max 2 I've only taken to 12, and the Mach X2 I've only taken to 16. So that is all I have for you today out here. I am super cold. Oh my goodness. Whew. Yeah, Supwell hats, sure, Hobby Jogger hats, Supwell shirts are for sale, www.hobbyjogger.com. We gotta run it up for the holiday season. Charlie wants new kitchen appliances and whatnot. We gotta check them out. And we're going international. I wanna get you guys all the Hobby Jogger swag all across the world, and we are shipping it out. And we got all the sizes. So check it out, hobbyjogger.com. I gotta get some recovery in. Woo! Ah, it smells like apple pie in here, so nice. Did you make apple pie? Oh, is it a candle? The Mama's Kitchen. What are you watching? David Attenborough? I'm gonna get hit with the David Attenborough cease and desist. What's that? Ah, that's fire. Alright, fighting for myself for breakfast here. Gonna do some leftover pancakes. Make some of this just egg, some vegan sausage, throw some spinach in that, scramble it up, and then we'll be good to go. Whole squad on a meal. Whole squad on a meal. Hey. Good job, oranges. Oranges doing outstanding numbers. Hey, keeping it real healthy with the oranges. Good job. That's real healthy right there. She's gonna walk. She's gonna walk before a year.
and she's gonna run before 18 months. Put some respect on David Attenborough. Alright. This is recovery meal 1. Whole squad is out here getting it in. Leftover home-style pancakes that Charlie made yesterday. These were crazy. She put applesauce and olive oil in them, just going ham. And then I have the Just Egg. I would have rather had tofu scramble, but I was too lazy to do that. So I have the vegan Just Egg. This is bean-based, so good protein with the spinach. And then 2 of the Morningstar Farms sausages for some extra protein and fun. So this is recovery meal number 1. I'm going to try to get Charles to make some chickpea salad for lunch. We'll see. I don't know how that's going to go. Oh, buffalo or regular? I can guess so. Oh, no. Alright, currently out here at soccer on the Ghost Max dad trip. They got us out here on the back-to-back. This is the 3rd day of 5-year-old soccer in a row. A little excessive, but chickpea salad on the whole wheat everything bagel. I had 2 pieces of this and then some barbecue chips for some flavor and enjoyment. Alright, so we tried, or Charlie tried, a new recipe from the New York Times. Sheet pan gnocchi with roasted broccoli.
This is the thing I always have with the recipes. It's just like
And they never come together. Yeah.
the pasta recipes specifically. I feel like
The pasta recipes are underdeveloped. Yeah, I mean, your gnocchi has been perfected, so this was definitely an experiment. She usually does in a cast iron, olive oil, honey.
no, it's fine. It's just not.
It tastes good.
I mean, it's
No.
nothing's gonna taste bad about this, but
Drizzle honey on it and we'll be fine. A crispy gnocchi with the sausages and
probably could have used
broccoli.
more than some.
Yeah. Now look at that. That's perfect. Now that's going to be perfect. Typically we do Brussels, but the New York Times recipe had broccoli. New York Times who? Seriously, New York Times who? New York Times ain't been hot since Osama bin Laden died. That's what happens when you wake up at 5:45 a.m. and you don't sleep all day. Alright, last thing, and then I'm ready for this day to be gosh dang over. Gnocchi, still steaming. Lots of olive oil, local honey, with the roasted broccoli and the Beyond sausage. It's gonna be fire. I can't top Charlie's cast iron recipe, but still gonna be good. It's gnocchi. So I'm gonna have this. Probably figure out something to have for dessert because I'm super hungry. I am underfueled. I have not had enough calories today, and I can feel it. And that's what happens when we have soccer and shenanigans and yada yada. So refuel tonight, heavy. This plus probably I need 1,000 more calories on top of this. So I'm gonna be trapping tonight in the kitchen. All right, I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Go order your hobby jogger stuff. Supwell Kitchen Cookbook coming sometime. I don't know when. It's gonna come at some point. All right, see you tomorrow.